to celebrate women in all of their diversity. My name is Marcus,
And my name is Phoebe.
and we will be your MCs for tonight.
各位晚安，今日係國際婦女節，歡迎大家嚟臨由香港中文大學全球衛生中心以及性別研究課程舉辦嘅我是女性活動，一同慶祝女性可以活出多元生命。我哋係今日嘅司儀，我係 Phoebe。
我係 Marcus. For those of you who don't know, the CHK Center for Global Health is a platform which links a diverse range of stakeholders to connect, inspire, and act regarding global health and equity issues. Meanwhile, the Gender Studies program at CHK coordinates the first and the only tertiary level program on gender studies in Hong Kong, providing courses from an undergraduate through doctoral level.
係啊，香港中文大學全球衛生中心提供咗一個平台，凝聚嚟自唔同界別嘅持份者，連結、影響同埋啟發其他人，共同為全球衛生同埋平等議題出一分力。至於中文大學嘅性別研究課程，係香港第一，亦都係唯一一個涵蓋本科至到博士程度嘅課程，俾有興趣嘅學生可以用唔同嘅角度研究性別議題。
On behalf of the organizers, we would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone here tonight, and particularly to our speakers for taking the time to share their stories with us.
我哋喺呢度謹代表今晚活動嘅舉辦機構，熱烈歡迎今晚在座嘅每一位，尤其係會湧出席嚟同我哋分享嘅故事嘅講者，亦都要鳴謝防止性騷擾委員會。
Tonight, we are privileged to be joined by speakers from all walks of life. Some are young, some are older, some are students and others are professionals, some are Chinese and others are not. Our hope is that you will learn, be inspired, and be challenged to take action to promote gender equality. Outside of the presentations, we hope you will enjoy the refreshments, meet new people, and take the time to peruse our educational poster board displays.
今晚嘅講者嚟自唔同嘅背景，佢哋有啲好年輕，有啲人生經驗相對豐富，有啲係學生，有啲係專業人士，仲有嚟自唔同嘅種族。我哋希望你喺分享嘅入面可以有所得着，有所啟發，並且會諗下自己可以用咩方式去推動性別平等。除咗講者嘅分享，我哋都要為大家準備咗一啲嘅茶點，大家喺享用嘅時候都可以同時認識下啲新嘅朋友，同埋留意下貼喺展板嘅海報展覽。
The first 4 presentations will take place in English, while the last 3 presentations after the interval will be in Cantonese.
今晚頭4個嘅分享將會以英語形式進行，而休息之後嘅3個就會以廣東話形式進行。
Without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, Cassandra Lee, an MSc student in computer science at CUHK, a writer, artist, musician, and mathematician. Cassandra has written widely on subjects related to maths, females, and youth for the Huffington Post, and has published a paper in the Princeton Undergraduate Mathematics Journal. A staunch advocate for more girls to join the male-dominated STEM field, Cassandra will bring us into her world of women and science. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Cassandra.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cassandra. I'm a Master's of Science student studying computer science at CUHK, and I'm very passionate about having girls to pursue. I'm very passionate about letting girls pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, let's imagine something. Imagine a scientist, an engineer, a mathematician. How about a nurse? What gender comes to mind when you think of these occupations? Chances are, the first 3 are men, while the last one is female. But why do we think of leaders in science, engineering, and mathematics as male by default? So give examples in history, like Marie Curie, who's a 2-time Nobel Prize winner and discoverer of radioactive elements. We had Grace Hopper, who's a computer scientist, and I'll return to her later. We had Emmy Noether, who's a more than that, we also have a new field for hidden contributing to the development of space programs in NASA. So how come these women are ignored by the majority of people? Well, I'm going to use this acronym called STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. It's the study of how stuff works and how to improve life using principles gleaned from nature. But isn't this a pursuit independent of gender? Why is it that a certain sex is ignored? While women make up roughly half of the world's population and an increasing number of advanced degrees, and according to some estimates, represent the largest single economic force in the world, there is still a gender gap in STEM. Now, I'm not saying that there's a gender gap in all scientific disciplines. In biology, we already have a male to female ratio of 50-50, but in other disciplines, such as physics, chemistry, and engineering, we have only 30% or less. According to some estimates, engineering in general can be as low as 6% of women. So there's a real shortage of women in STEM. That means progress is not benefiting from our input. This talk is not about the gender gap. It's a call to action. It's a difference we can make if we are literate in STEM. If we know physics, if we know chemistry, if we know mathematics, computer science, engineering, all of these stuff, we can literally, and I'm not using this word lightly, we can literally change the world. However, there are three myths we must undo, we must dispel, if we want to change the world, if we want to unleash our potential in STEM. The first myth is that women can't contribute unique perspectives in STEM. After all, men have been doing the part of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for most of history. Why can't they keep doing so? Because there are some things that we can take off that they can't take off. For example, I mentioned Grace Hopper earlier tonight. You see, back when she was doing programming in the early 20th century, people coded in zeros and ones. Those are very cumbersome to manipulate if you know a bit of programming. But she had a vision. She had a vision that we could use English words instead of zeros and ones to write programs. And so, nowadays, our apps, name any app, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, they're all programmed using English-based programming languages. And all this is because a woman pioneered the use of English words in programming languages. The other example I want to share with you is in mathematics. You see, when mathematicians thought of this concept called hyperbolic geometry, they couldn't visualize it. When they could, they only used paper and tape. And the paper and tape model they came up with were very brittle. But there was a solution. And the solution was an feminine art known as crochet. And this is a model of hyperbolic geometry. And the discoverer of this model, the creator of this model is a professor, a woman professor in Cornell, known as Carina. And there's a very wonderful TED talk on it called The Beautiful Math of Follow. This crocheting is something that men would not typically have thought of. And now, because of this breakthrough, people can now visualize a certain shape that could potentially be the shape of the universe. So it is wrong that women can't contribute unique perspectives. The second myth is that girls are not interested in STEM. Well, according to a study commissioned by this company known as Microsoft, and we all know Microsoft, girls' interest in STEM peaks at around 11 years of age, but wanes at 15 years of age. That means we only have 4 years or less to cultivate their interest in STEM. But why would they lose interest in STEM? It's because of social conditioning. We are taught to like arts and humanities from an early age. In fact, girls make up the bulk of readers of books. And because we tend to be seen as emotional, people think that we are not suited for logical subjects like STEM. And we are ostracized for liking male-dominated subjects, as if we become worse women because of that. These insidious ideas have deleterious effect on girls. So whenever I get a chance, I seek to be an inspiration to girls. For example, in 2015, I was lucky enough to be a tutor for mathematics program in CUHK. And one of these high school students was a girl. She loved mathematics and she also loved computer science. But she wanted to find a program that suits both of her wishes. So I thought, well, there's a program called Enrichment Mathematics in CUHK. And this program had a stream that's catered especially for her. So I told her if she would enter the Enrichment Mathematics stream in CUHK, she would be able to realize her ambition. And amazingly enough, when I came back to CUHK as a master's student this year, I met her, and she is now an enrichment student in mathematics. The other example I'd like to share with you is a girl that I met over a computer skills volunteering workshop. The other people who knew computer science then were boys, but she could approach me confidently because I'm a girl and I know computer science. And so I answered all the questions that she posed to me. Every girl in STEM can be an inspiration to the next girl in STEM. So it's wrong that girls are not interested in STEM. They just need a better approach. And the third myth, which is hardest to dispel, but it has to be dispelled, is that we can't change certain attitudes people have towards women in STEM. Like what attitudes? Okay, so when people ask me what I did, I said I did mathematics, I do computer science, and they think, oh, you're so smart. This is not until we think deeper and we find it actually quite discouraging. The fact is, STEM is not necessarily for people who are smart, because if you're smart, in Hong Kong you have many outlets. But if you want to do STEM, you have to have a never give up attitude. For example, every lecturer whom I mentioned earlier, she was actually very good in English and French. And she had the necessary qualifications to become a language teacher back in Germany. But she did not go for the safe route. She went to university, studied mathematics, and that's how she did history. So, the point is, it's not true that we are smart, that we enter mathematics or science or engineering. It's that we are people who don't give up on our dreams. The other attitude we'd like to change is that people would belittle women's contribution to STEM. For example, given the same academic paper, if it's linked to a man's name, it gets a higher rating than if it's linked to a woman's name. For the same idea, if a woman raises it in a meeting, she will be criticized for it, while a man who raises the same idea will be praised for it. And women get less pay even in STEM careers. But when I think of these things, even though I feel like they are unfair, it is an opportunity for us to change. When we are silent, we can speak up. When we want to stay hidden, we can step up. And if we feel like we are defeated, we can stand up, face it squarely. And by doing so, we'll open the doors for more girls and more women to enter STEM. I think everyone here knows about Alibaba. The founder, Jack Ma, says that he hires women because they think about others more. Do we think about ourselves? Sometimes. But more often, we think about children. We think about the elderly. We think about the poor, and we think about people who are physically and or mentally challenged. For women in STEM, we're not just doing these things for the inherent beauty that they possess. That some people say, mathematics is beautiful, physics is beautiful. We're not just doing it for the sake of this philosophical idea. We're doing it to change the world, one equation, one algorithm, one idea at a time. And that's why the STEM field needs more of us. By showing people that we care about something bigger than ourselves, we can dispel this myth. In my life, I had to cross many barriers to do STEM. Sometimes I felt misunderstood because I was the only girl in class, and I felt like I'm the only one who understands myself. I was even ranked average by one of the professors, and he said that I had no future in mathematics whatsoever. But now I'm standing here and doing computer science, which is very mathematically intensive. The truth is, I'm a multi-passionate person who loves art, music, literature, and the rest of the humanities. I join piano contests. I write music for film. I draw and design. I read novels. I also write stories. And there's a story corner in my website, if you manage to find it. However, I also like science, engineering, and mathematics. As a little girl, my mom told me 3 words that I'll never forget. Math is useful. And I second that. Because without mathematics, you wouldn't have the smartphones you hold now. Without mathematics, you wouldn't have 9-day weather forecasts. And without mathematics, you wouldn't have the internet and everything that we now take for granted. And as a woman in STEM, I can do one thing that other women who are in the humanities or the arts cannot do. I can encourage and support other girls who are in STEM. I said this talk was a call to action. So the key for girls to shape their future through STEM is to impart the right attitudes towards STEM at an early age, which is right now. That means we must allow our children, our younger relatives, our students, and our mentees to pursue STEM regardless of gender. If your girls are thinking about doing STEM, be supportive. Encourage them to join programs that give them hands-on experience with physics, with chemistry, with mathematics, with computer science, anything that has to do with STEM. And let them find out how math is useful, physics is useful, chemistry is useful, computer science is useful. Let them find out, and so on, and see them fly. So the next time you imagine a scientist, an engineer, a mathematician, anyone who does STEM, what gender will you think of? I bet you'll be thinking of both genders in no particular order. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cassandra.
有請性別研究課程嘅課程主任同埋講師，亦都係今日活動主辦機構之一嘅馮海蘭教授同埋曹明傑博士為我哋講一句説話，咁總結翻今日嘅活動嘅。
大家好，我係小曹啦。咁咧，其實我喺度講嘢咧都有少少尷尬嘅，因為今日係300婦女節嘅主角都係女人嚇，咁所以咧我就喺度諗就我既然唔係女人，而女人咧佢喺過去咁多年入邊咧都爭取咗咁多年，去為自己發聲，究竟我需唔需要我哋嘅一個 concluding remark 咧咁樣？但係咧我再諗嘅時候發覺，其實我都可能係女人嘅意思唔係我係生理性別嘅女人，而係我都係 share 各位唔同嘅講者佢哋對生命嗰種熱誠。同埋咧面對挑戰嘅時候嗰種嘅勇氣嘅，咁所以喺呢個意義之下咧，我都好可能係女人。咁我喺度諗就係、其實咧我係女人咧，唔係因為頭先我講過咧，就唔係因為我係生理性別嘅女人啦，而我覺得尷尬嘅原因係因為好似要即個唔同嘅講者出嚟講完之後，要揾一個嘅男性出嚟肯定呢個係啦，呢個 good， 呢個好好咁樣。但係我諗就其實可能唔係嘅，調翻轉就係、通過各個講者佢哋嘅講話內容咧，令我可以肯定自己，或者更準確嚟講就係、可以睇到我其實一樣同大家一樣咧，有脆弱嘅一面，都會有勇氣，都係會有堅韌嘅。咁所以我覺得喺呢個意義上面咧，我哋大家都係女人。
我咧就其實我今日教書教到6點幾啦，咁跟住之後咧就即係教完書啊嘛，咁去下洗手間，就3個鐘頭冇去過，咁就一開 WhatsApp 咧就見到 Alex 嘅 message 話：喂，你可唔可以嚟講下 closing remark？ 我話咩話 closing remark？ 冇準備喎，所以我嚟講咁樣，咁於是我就衝咗嚟啦，咁咧就剛好咧，我啱啱教嗰班咧就係、我教佢qualitative research method， 即係質性研究。咁我哋因為今日300婦女節咧，我哋用嚟做 example 嗰條題目咧，就係話即係都爭取咗 gender equality， 即係超過20幾年啦。到底你覺得 gender 係咪 equal 咗咧？即係呢條題目嚟嘅。咁咧就剛巧咧，我啲學生嘅答案咧，就由開頭一啲咧，即係你喺 textbook 或者其實出邊啲 poster 都寫好多嘅，就係、economic independence of women 啦，family division of labour 啦，講下咧。到最後咧，我叫佢哋 rank order， 即係佢咁多個答案啦，邊個最重要，邊個冇咁重要咁樣啦。其實佢講完咗好多嘢之後咧，最後佢覺得最重要嘅係同佢 partner 嘅溝通。即係其實咧有可能咧大家要嘅嘢係唔同嘅，亦都冇所謂，即係唔係話咩嘢係男人一定要或者咩女人一定要，只係咧大家覺得乜嘢係大家需要嘅，咁互相尊重就可以啦。咁 咁跟住另一樣即係第二重要嘅咧，就係話其實原來 family 同 career 嘅 balance 咧，唔係一定要 balance 就好嘅。即係佢哋個講法咧，就係話咧，其實每個人係需要唔同嘅 balance， 或者有啲人我好中意一個好 successful 嘅 career， 我唔使 family 嘅 ，OK， 呢個係佢嘅選擇。同樣地，另外一啲人話我係中意做家庭主婦嘅，完全冇問題，或者我中意做 house husband 嘅，又完全 OK 嘅，咁亦都冇問題。咁於是我慢慢咧就開始反思咧，就話咧原來會唔會咧其實我哋慢慢從一啲比較覺得乜嘢係應該或者咩叫 entitled 嘅嘢，變成咧乜嘢係自己嘅選擇，或者用翻有啲講者嘅講法就做翻自己，即係做翻自己故事嘅女主角。咁可能咧呢一啲其實就係 gender equality 嘅基本精神，就係 respect 自己，亦都 respect 人哋。咁最後咧，我就 conclude with 咧，我哋當年咧為咗爭取 gender study program 開 undergrad program 啦，我哋喺學校嘅 senate， 即係喺200幾位教授啊，即係嗰啲division head 啊，director 面前咧，咁我哋校長沈祖堯教授問我一個問題，就係 gender program 係咪就係為女人㗎？男人得唔得嘅？即係我估佢嘅意思係話咧，如果就為女人就唔使開啦，為男人就可以考慮啦咁樣。咁於是我就答佢咧，就 gender 唔係淨係男人或者女人，即係中間好多 variation 嘅。咁當然滿台大笑啦，咁亦都個 program 係通過咗。但係其實咧個可能而家諗翻轉頭咧，其實呢個就真係個精神，就呢個就個 variety， 即係無論人生或者 gender， 其實都有好多唔同嘅 form。咁我哋要做嘅就係尊重自己，尊重他人。好多謝大家。